Hey fashionistas, let's talk modesty. It's a concept that's been woven into the fabric of our societies for centuries. It's been around forever, shaping how we dress and how we present ourselves to the world. From ancient times to now, covering up has meant different things to different cultures and eras. Think about it, long flowing robes, high necklines, layers upon layers. Each style tells a story of its time. These weren't just about fashion, they were cultural statements. They signified identity, status and beliefs. Modesty was about respect, social order, even spirituality. It was a way to show reverence and humility. It showed you understood the rules and played by them. Clothing was a language and modesty was a key dialect. Fast forward through time, and those ideas shifted. What was once a strict code became more relaxed. What was once considered scandalous is now everyday wear. Fashion is ever evolving, reflecting our changing values. Remember when showing your ankles was a big deal? Crazy, right? It just shows how perceptions change. But it shows how much our ideas of what's appropriate have changed. Modesty is a mirror to our evolving norms. What's clear is that modesty is more than just clothes. It's a statement of who we are and what we value. It's a fascinating reflection of our values and how they evolve over time. Each era leaves its mark on modesty. Stay tuned, because we're about to dive deep into the world of modest fashion. From ancient traditions to modern trends, there's so much to explore. Let's be real, religion has played a huge role in shaping modest fashion. Think about it, the hijab in Islam, the tichel in Judaism, or the habits worn by nuns. These garments are powerful symbols of faith and identity. They're about more than just covering up. They represent devotion, tradition, and a connection to something bigger. But religion's influence goes beyond specific garments. It sets standards of modesty that have impacted fashion for centuries. Think about the long skirts and high necklines that were once commonplace across cultures. These styles were often rooted in religious beliefs about humility and covering the body. It's amazing to see how these traditions have left their mark on fashion history. Hold on to your hats, or should I say your head coverings, because we're taking a whirlwind tour through fashion history. Remember those corsets from the Victorian era? Talk about restrictive. Women were expected to have tiny waists and covered limbs. But then came the roaring 20s. Flapper dresses, scandalous. Hemlines went up, hair went short, and a new era of liberation dawned. It was a total fashion revolution. From the 1950s, with its cinched waists and full skirts, to the free-flowing styles of the 70s, modesty was constantly being redefined. What was once considered daring became the norm and then faded into fashion history. It just goes to show that ideas of modesty are always evolving. Now, let's talk about some seriously stylish, modest looks throughout history. Because modest doesn't have to mean frumpy. Think about the elegance of a vintage Dior New Look silhouette, or the effortless chic of a 1970s maxi dress. These looks are timeless. They prove that you can be covered up and still make a statement. And let's not forget about the iconic women who rocked modest fashion with their own unique flair. Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, Princess Diana, they all understood the power of elegance and sophistication. Their styles were modest, but never boring. They continued to inspire us today. Section 5. Building blocks of style, architecture and attire. In this section, we delve into the fascinating interplay between the structures we live in and the clothes we wear. You might be surprised to hear that architecture and fashion have a lot in common. Both fields are driven by creativity, functionality, and aesthetics. Just like buildings, clothes have structure, shape, and a story to tell. The seams of a garment are like the beams of a building holding everything together. Think about the grandeur of Gothic cathedrals. These architectural marvels were not just places of worship, but also statements of power and artistry. Those soaring arches and intricate details, they were designed to inspire awe and wonder. They were echoed in the clothing of the time. The fashion of the Gothic era was equally elaborate, with rich fabrics and detailed embroidery. Long flowing gowns with elaborate embroidery mirrored the architecture's elegance. The clothing was designed to reflect the same sense of grandeur and sophistication. And during the Renaissance, when buildings became more symmetrical and balanced, so did fashion. The symmetry in architecture was mirrored in the structured, balanced designs of Renaissance clothing. It's fascinating to see how these two art forms have influenced and inspired each other throughout history. The evolution of fashion often parallels the evolution of architectural styles. From the flowing lines of Art Nouveau to the sleek minimalism of modern architecture, there's a clear connection between the clothes we wear and the buildings we inhabit. Both continue to evolve, reflecting the changing tastes and values of society. Section 6. Veiled Visions, Bridal Beauty, Then and Now. Okay, let's talk weddings. Few things say modesty quite like a traditional wedding gown. Think about the Victorian era with its high necks, long sleeves and layers of lace. Those dresses were all about romance and tradition. And who can forget the iconic image of Grace Kelly on her wedding day? Her elegant gown, complete with a veil that covered her face, is still considered the epitome of bridal elegance. But just like everything else, wedding fashion has evolved. Today you see everything from sleek, minimalist gowns to colourful, bohemian creations. Brides are expressing their individuality more than ever before. Section 7. The rise of skin, a modern paradox. Here's the thing, we live in a world where less is often seen as more. Crop tops, short shorts and bodycon dresses are everywhere. So, where does that leave modesty? It's a question a lot of people are asking. Some argue that modesty is outdated, a relic of the past, but others believe it's more relevant than ever. They see it as a way to stand out, to make a statement in a world that often feels overexposed. And let's not forget the body positivity movement. It's encouraging everyone to embrace their bodies regardless of shape or size. In a way, that's a form of modesty too, the confidence to be comfortable in your own skin. Section 8, Modesty or Morality, Separating Cloth and Character. Let's get real for a second. Judging someone's character based on their clothing choices, not cool. Unfortunately, it happens all the time. People make assumptions about women who dress modestly, labeling them as oppressed or prudish, and on the flip side, women who choose to dress more revealingly are often judged as well. It's like we can't win. Here's the truth, what we wear doesn't define us. Modesty is a personal choice, and it means different things to different people. It's time to ditch the stereotypes and celebrate individuality. Let's empower each other to make our own choices without judgment. Section 9. Finding your style. Express yourself authentically. Fashion should be fun. It's a way to express ourselves, to show the world who we are. Whether you prefer sleek and modern looks or vintage-inspired outfits, the most important thing is to feel confident and comfortable in your own skin. Don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things and to find what works for you. Maybe you love the elegance of long skirts or the chic-ness of a well-tailored blazer. Or maybe you're all about bold colors and statement jewelry. There are no rules when it comes to personal style. Embrace your individuality and rock it. The most important thing is to wear what makes you feel good. Section 10. Fashion Forward, Modestys Future. So what's next for modest fashion? It's an exciting time. The world of fashion is constantly evolving, and modest fashion is no exception. Designers and fashion enthusiasts alike are pushing the boundaries and redefining what it means to dress modestly in today's world. We're seeing a resurgence of interest in modest styles, but with a modern twist. This isn't about going back to old-fashioned looks. It's about blending tradition with contemporary flair. The result is a fresh, innovative approach to modest dressing that appeals to a wide range of people. Designers are experimenting with new fabrics, silhouettes, and ways to cover up without compromising on style. Think flowy layers, statement sleeves, and bold prints. These elements are not just about covering up, they're about making a statement and expressing individuality through fashion. Modesty is becoming synonymous with creativity and individuality. It's about finding new ways to express oneself while adhering to personal or cultural standards of modesty. This shift is opening up a world of possibilities for both designers and wearers. And with the rise of social media, we're seeing more and more influencers and bloggers showcasing their own unique takes on modest fashion. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok are filled with creative content that inspires and educates followers on how to incorporate modesty into their wardrobes. They're proving that you can be stylish, confident, and true to yourself, all while dressing modestly. These influencers are breaking stereotypes and showing that modest fashion can be just as trendy and exciting as any other style. The future of fashion is all about inclusivity, self-expression, and breaking down barriers. Modest fashion is at the forefront of this movement, embracing diversity and encouraging everyone to find their own unique style. And I, for one, am excited to see where it takes us. The journey of modest fashion is just beginning, and the possibilities are endless. From runways to street style, modest fashion is making its mark and shaping the future of the industry.